Salima and Bella were born in the same city, breathed the same air, and even finished high school the same year. But that was where their similarities ended. Salima grew up in a humble, warm household. Her father owned a small mini-mart in their area, the kind where everybody knew everybody. After school, Salima would drop her bag on the kitchen chair, tie her wrapper, and rush to help her father arrange goods, attend to customers, and keep the shop running smoothly. And when night came, while other girls her age were scrolling on their phones or gossiping with friends, Salima sat beside her mother, holding a torchlight as they both sold customers' clothes late into the night. Salima was always cooking, helping her siblings with homework, cleaning, running errands. She was kind, respectful, soft-spoken, a girl whose heart was richer than her pockets. Bella, on the other hand, was her complete opposite. Born into wealth, she grew up in a mansion where even the air conditioning seemed to obey her mood. Her parents,
Chief and Madam Benson Abdul Malik,
believed money solved every problem, so Bella never lifted a finger. She had maids for everything, maids to carry her bag, maids to bring her food, even maids to help her choose what to wear. Her mother treated workers like dirt, backing orders from morning till night, and Bella copied her like a mirror. If a maid walked too slowly, Bella yelled. If a driver came a minute late, Bella insulted him. Her father rewarded every tantrum with a new phone, new bag, new wig, anything to keep her quiet. Where Salima was soft, Bella was sharp. Where Salima was humble, Bella was arrogant. Where Salima worked hard, Bella didn't even know where the broom in her house was kept. Yet, life in one quiet twist was already preparing the plot neither of them saw coming. Because months later, after their JAMB results came out, after course choices were made, after hostel forms were filled, destiny dragged the two girls from opposite worlds to the same university. And that was where everything started. University life was supposed to be a fresh start, but for Salima, it felt like walking into a lion's den. She knew she didn't belong there. Not with her simple clothes, her thrift store shoes, and the tote bag she used to carry her books. Everywhere she looked, she saw students who wore luxury like skin, designer bags, expensive phones, parents who deposited school fees without blinking, girls stepping out of sleek cars, boys wearing watches that cost more than her father's yearly income, students who spoke of vacations abroad like they were weekend trips. It was a world built for the wealthy, and she was just trying to survive in it. Yet, every time she felt overwhelmed, she remembered her father's words the day he filled out her university forms himself. "You will enter that school, Salima, not because we are rich, but because I want you exposed. I want you to sit where the rich sit, learn where they learn, and become a woman who can stand anywhere in this world." Those words were the only thing that kept her walking into that campus every morning, heart pounding, but determined not to disappoint the man who sacrificed everything to give her a life he never had. And Bella, her arrogance followed her into campus. With her designer bags, long artificial nails, loud perfumes, and carefully rehearsed attitude, Bella ruled the school like she owned it. And the sad truth is, her parents raised her that way. Money solved everything. Money bought everything. Money was everything. And Bella believed it. So when she met Salima, the girl with clean cornrows, simple shoes, and a smile that made people feel safe, she felt threatened. Not because Salima had money, but because Salima had something money couldn't buy. Grace, brains, and a heart people gravitated towards. Bella hated that. She mocked Salima's clothes, laughed at her hair, and rolled her eyes whenever Salima answered questions in class. "Madam Scholar," she would snare loudly, "you think book is everything?" But truth be told, Salima was brilliant. She aced every course effortlessly, always top of the class, always the lecturer's favorite, always the student others came to for notes. Bella, her results were a disaster. The only reason she passed any course at all was because her father slipped brown envelopes to lecturers every semester. That was how Bella moved from level to level, not by effort, but by her father's wallet. One sunny afternoon, something changed. A new guy joined their class, a quiet young man with kind eyes and an inhaler always tucked gently in his pocket. Jamal. He had asthma, and everyone knew it because he always carried his inhaler like it was a part of his body. But from the first moment he saw Salima, something in him shifted. The way she greeted people, the way she sat front in lectures and answered questions gently, never arrogantly. He liked her. Immediately, effortlessly. His friends noticed. "Guy, calm down," they teased. "You don't even know her name." But Jamal just smiled. "I will," he said. Meanwhile, Bella watched everything with burning jealousy. Because for almost 2 years, Bella had secretly admired Jamal from a distance. His calm voice, his soft laughter, his intelligence, even his vulnerability when he held his inhaler made her heart melt. But Jamal, he never noticed her. Not once. Not even when she wore her most expensive perfumes or waved her hair in slow motion. Not even when she laughed loudly at jokes that were not funny. Jamal didn't see her. He only saw Salima, and Bella hated it. She hated how Jamal's eyes followed Salima when she walked. She hated how he smiled whenever Salima raised her hand in class. She hated how he asked her one day, "Do you know Salima? Is she single?" That night, Bella couldn't sleep. Jealousy crawled into her heart like a slow poison. After months of watching Jamal gravitate towards Salima like a leaf drawn to sunlight, Bella finally opened her Instagram, typed and deleted many messages, then finally sent the one her pride had been fighting. "Jamal, I like you. I've liked you for a long time." She waited for his response, her heart pounding. When the reply came, it shattered her. "Bella, you are a nice person, but I love Salima." She threw her phone across the room. Salima, always Salima. The next day, Bella walked around campus with her heart burning like hot coal. She glared at Salima whenever she passed and rolled her eyes at Jamal whenever he talked. Her jealousy grew until it became something darker, something dangerous. Then came the day that changed everything. It was a hot afternoon in their final year. Students were outside, chatting and minding their business, when Jamal suddenly staggered near the hallway. He clutched his chest, gasping for air. His asthma had hit him hard. His inhaler was in his bag in the classroom, but Bella, though, stood right in front of him, and instead of running to help, she slowly pulled out her phone. She pressed record. "Jamal," she said coldly, her voice trembling with bitterness. "Where is Salima now? Isn't it the one you love? Let her come and save you." Jamal's eyes widened in horror as he gasped soundlessly. He tried to say her name, to beg for help, but he couldn't breathe. Bella took a step back, still recording, and that was when Salima appeared, running like her life depended on it. "Jamal!" she screamed. Salima dropped to her knees, checking Jamal's pockets, her hands shaking. He weakly pointed toward the classroom, and without wasting a second, she ran. She found the inhaler in his bag, hurried back, placed it in his mouth and pressed it again and again until Jamal's breathing slowly steadied. "Somebody call an ambulance!" Salima cried. Students rushed in, dialed emergency services. Bella hid her phone behind her, her guilt masked with a blank face. Within minutes, the ambulance arrived and carried Jamal into the van. Salima climbed in with him, holding his hand tightly. Bella stood frozen, rooted to the ground. Everyone had seen it. Everyone had seen her recording a dying boy instead of helping him. The ambulance wailed into the distance with Jamal inside. She held his hand, whispering encouragement even when he couldn't hear her. By the time they arrived at the hospital, he was breathing steadily again, though still exhausted and weak. The doctors reassured her, "You saved his life. If you came 1 minute later, it would have been fatal." Salima's knees buckled. She sat in the waiting room, hands trembling, breath shaky. When she finally got home, her parents rushed to her side. One look at her face and they knew something had happened. "Salima, what is it?" her father asked gently. With tears in her eyes, she narrated everything. The attack, the panic, Bella recording instead of helping, and how she ran to save him. Her mother clasped her hand tightly. "My daughter, may God bless you. You have a heart of gold." Her father nodded, pride shining in his eyes. "This is why I always tell you, kindness will take you places arrogance never can. I am proud of you." Salima hugged them, allowing herself to finally break down. "I was so scared. I thought he would die in my hands." But he didn't, her father whispered, and that is because of you. The next day, Bella was driving home, her ego still bruised from Jamal's rejection. She was angry at Salima, angry at Jamal, angry at the whole world. Then she saw her. Salima, wearing simple clothes, walking home from the market with a nylon of groceries. A wicked smile crept onto Bella's face. Perfect opportunity. She took a clear picture of Salima from behind, dusty slippers, nylon bag, no makeup, simple gown, then uploaded it straight into their departmental group chat. Bella captioned it, "Imagine this girl forming Miss Perfect but can't even afford a taxi," laughing out loud. She sat back, waiting for the usual laughter, the insult, the mockery. But something else happened, something she never expected. Esther wrote, "Bella, are you not ashamed? After what you did yesterday?" Daniel, "So you're still bullying people? Grow up, I beg." Kelvin, "You almost watched a guy die, and this is what you are posting? You need help." Aisha, "Salima is humble. Grocery nylon or not, she saved a life. What exactly have you done?" Nicholas, "Bella, leave this girl alone. Your heart is the one that needs correction." The messages poured in non-stop, more and more, dragging her, exposing her, ripping apart the perfect princess image she hid behind. Bella's breath caught in her throat. Her hands shook as she read through the comments. Her chest tightened. She refreshed the chat over and over, praying it was a mistake. But no, every single message was against her. For the first time in her life, Bella felt defeated, exposed, ridiculed, small. Her own classmates had finally seen who she truly was, a bully with nothing to offer but a wealthy surname and pride. She threw her phone on the seat, blinked back tears, and sped off. On the day of their graduation, the atmosphere sparkled with excitement and pride. The hall was beautifully decorated. It looked like something out of a movie. Students arrived with their parents, wearing expensive gowns, sharp tuxedos, designer shoes, and flawless makeup. Laughter and camera flashes filled the air. Bella also arrived with her parents, dressed in luxury from head to toe. But for the first time, she didn't feel beautiful. She felt watched, judged. Whispers followed her like shadows. Salima also arrived, in a simple but elegant dress her mother helped sew. Her father ironed her gown the night before and prayed over her. She looked graceful, comfortable, content. She sat quietly among the graduating students, unaware that today her whole life would shift. Halfway through the celebration, the MC stepped onto the stage with a wide smile. "Ladies and gentlemen, today we have a special guest, a man whose generosity has supported brilliant students across the country. Please welcome Mr. Benson." The hall exploded in applause. He stood up and walked proudly toward the stage. Students whispered, "Is that not Bella's father?" "Yes now, he's the multimillionaire." The hall settled as he reached the microphone. "Good afternoon, distinguished guests. Today is special for me, not just because of the graduating students, but because one of them is my child." Bella smiled proudly. Of course, her father loved attention. But then, as Mr. Benson continued talking, somewhere in the crowd, a woman stiffened. Salima's mother. Her smile faded. Her hands began to shake. Her heart pounded in a way she hadn't felt in many, many years. She stared at the man on stage, narrowing her eyes. That face, that voice, that name. A strange uneasiness washed over her, the kind that slips into your bones before your mind catches up. "No, it cannot be," she whispered to herself, but she couldn't look away. After Sir Ibrahim finished his long-winded speech, the audience clapped politely. Next, the MC announced, "Please, welcome the man whose silent generosity has kept our institution standing. A man of integrity, humility, and excellence. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Adamu." A tall, soft-spoken man walked onto the stage. Jamal sat straighter, already knowing what was coming. Salima blinked in surprise. She had never even seen Jamal's father until now. Unlike Bella's father, who walked with pride like he owned the world, Jamal's father carried himself quietly, almost like he wished he could give his speech and disappear. "Good afternoon, everyone," he began gently. Today, I stand not just as a father, but as a grateful man. He paused, searching through the crowd. I would like to invite someone dear to my heart onto the stage, Miss Salima. A collective murmur swept the hall. Bella's mouth hung open. Salima froze. Me? She whispered. Jamal nodded proudly from where he sat. Salima walked to the stage, heart racing. Jamal's father smiled warmly at her. He said, "On the day my son almost lost his life, this young woman stepped in. She saved him without thinking of herself. For your bravery, kindness, and excellence in character, I would like to sponsor your master's degree in one of the most prestigious universities abroad." The room erupted. People jumped to their feet. Students cheered. Lecturers clapped. Parents nodded approvingly. Jamal beamed. Salima covered her mouth in shock, tears welling. "And when you are done," Jamal's father continued, "I have a position waiting for you in my company, a position of honor." The applause doubled. Salima cried, tears of disbelief, gratitude, and pure joy. Bella felt something she had never felt in her life: inferior. All her life, she was the center of attention. All her life, she was praised for nothing. All her life, she believed money made her better. But now, for the first time ever, nobody was looking at her. Nobody cared about her designer gown. Nobody cared about her phone. Nobody cared about her father's money. Everyone was looking at Salima. The girl she mocked, the girl she belittled, the girl she treated like dirt. And it got worse. Then, just as the celebration was peaking, uniformed policemen walked into the hall. The atmosphere shifted instantly. Music stopped. Conversations froze. The lead officer stepped forward, holding a file. "Good afternoon," he announced. "Sorry to interrupt the ceremony, but we are here on official investigation." The hall buzzed with confusion. People whispered. The officer scanned the hall slowly, deliberately, as if searching for someone, until his eyes finally landed on one of the VIP seats. His expression hardened. He pointed. "Sir Abdul Malik, you are under arrest." Gasps tore through the hall. Bella's scream pierced the silence. "Arrest? My father? For what?" Chaos erupted outside the hall as policemen dragged Bella's father toward their van. Parents whispered, students recorded, and Bella stood frozen, her entire world collapsing right in front of her. "Daddy, Daddy," she cried, running after him. Her mother stumbled behind, screaming, "There must be a mistake. My husband is innocent." But the officers said nothing. Their grip only tightened. Then, as the van door was about to slam shut, Salima's mother stepped forward. Her eyes, red with 22 years of pain, locked on the man inside the police van. "Mr. Abdul Malik," she said. Something in her tone made the officers pause. And then, she spoke again. "Do you recognize me?" The entire world seemed to stop. Abdul Malik looked at her. Confusion flickered across his face, then panic, then shame. Salima's mother's voice rose, raw and broken. 23 years ago, I walked in your house. I was the maid you forced yourself on me. And when I became pregnant, you denied everything. You called me a liar. You chased me out with nothing, not even transport money home." Gasps shot through the gathering crowd. Bella's mother staggered backward. What is she saying?" she whispered, horrified. Salima's mother continued. "And that child, the one you abandoned, is my daughter, Salima." A collective silence swept the air, like a cold breeze. Bella's jaw dropped. So Salima is my sister?" she whispered weakly. Her mother covered her mouth, broken beyond words. Salima's knees buckled, and Jamal caught her. Her stepfather gently stepped forward and said, "I raised her as my own because you threw her away. I gave her everything you refused to give her. She is my daughter, not yours." Abdul Malik bowed his head, ashamed, defeated, just as the officers shut the van. The door slammed. He was driven away. Months later, the court found him guilty. Scam, corruption, multiple counts of assault on former staff members, and finally, the assault case of Salima's mother. His wealth was seized, his properties auctioned, his reputation destroyed. Bella and her mother were forced out of their mansion and relocated to a small 2-bedroom flat. Bella had to sell her designer bags, shoes, and wigs just to support herself. The rich girl who once mocked others for being beneath her now learnt what it meant to live without privilege. No one wanted to hire her. No one wanted to associate with the disgraced family. Her phone stopped ringing. Friends vanished like smoke. For the first time in her life, Bella tasted humility. Meanwhile, Salima flew abroad for her fully sponsored master's program, every expense paid by Jamal's father. Jamal chose the same university so he could stay close to her. One evening, under the campus lights, he took her hands and said, "Salima, will you be my girlfriend?" She smiled, shy, grateful, glowing. "Yes," she whispered. 1 year later, Salima returned home with honors. She secured her top-level position in Jamal's father's company. Soon after, Jamal proposed with a diamond ring, kneeling before her family, the family that truly loved her. She married the man who saw her heart before her status. She built a beautiful life. She lifted her parents from poverty. She never forgot where she came from. The girl who was mocked for being poor became a woman admired for her character. One afternoon, Bella sent Salima a message. "Please, can we meet?" They sat in a quiet cafe. Bella looked nothing like the princess she once was. No long lashes, no designer bags, just a girl humbled by life.
"I came to apologize," she whispered, "for everything, for the bullying, the insults, the way I treated you. I've learned that wealth can vanish overnight, but character, kindness, integrity, that's what truly matters." Salima exhaled softly. "Bella, life taught you what your parents never could. I forgive you." Bella sobbed, relieved, ashamed but grateful.
One night, Salima begged Jamal to give Bella a position in his company. Everyone deserves a second chance. And he did. Bella started in a junior role, quiet, hardworking, grateful. No entitlement, no attitude, just a girl determined to rebuild herself from the ashes of her mistakes. Months passed, and Salima noticed the change. Bella was different, truly different. She was kinder, calmer, and more patient. Even the staff loved her. One afternoon, Salima invited Bella into her office. "Bella," she said with a smile, "you have a gift. You love fashion. It lights up your face whenever you talk about it. Have you ever thought of starting your own brand?" Bella's eyes widened. "My own brand?" "Yes, and Jamal and I will support you. Capital, space, everything." That was how Bella Lux Atelier was born. A fashion brand built from elegance, creativity, and a newfound humility. Within a year, Bella Lux Atelier exploded. Celebrities wore her designs, socialites flaunted her bags, magazines featured her growth story. Bella became the woman she was always meant to be, not because of wealth, but because of wisdom. And the greatest lesson she carried in her heart was this: money can disappear. Good character is the only inheritance that never fades.